ain't good. Alright guys, here a couple of weeks ago I picked up this little Kubota tractor. It had been sitting for I don't know how long. I tinkered with it a little bit when I first brought it home. The injectors were gummed up, the rack was gummed up, the little mechanical fuel pump was out. So I took all that stuff off. I ordered a fuel pump, it came in. I've got another tractor down here that's the exact same model and everything. It may be a year or two different, I'm not sure, but this one is just for parts. And I tried the engine's stuck, but I'm probably going to go ahead and pull the injection pump, the injectors, the head, and keep different things on it that I could use for something else. I already pulled the wheels off because I might put duals on that one, and I've got a little tractor supply rake to put on behind it. So I did also rub some 3-point stuff because this one up here is missing the little turnbuckles. Well, one of them, and then the rod was bent, so I'm probably just going to take all that stuff off. That's been a little bit, that one's been a good bit. I could probably straighten it out, but I'll take whatever parts off of that one and put them on here. I took this piece off of that other one because this hole's all elongated, and I've got to get a top link because I don't have it. But what we're going to do today, since I have the fuel pump in, we're going to try to get it installed. I've got fuel to this thing already, good clean diesel, and I'll put the radiator hose back on and put some coolant in it and see if we can't get this thing to fire up and run and drive. So that being said, let's get after it. Whew, got that one. I don't know if I ever get these back on there. Alright, so I got the pump off that old engine, parts tractor on here. It slid right on. I think the problem with that new one I put on here was just bad casting or something, because it was snug, and I thought, well, you know, it ain't gonna be that bad. Them little old bolts will pull it down in there. Nope, they just cracked the housing, so it never would have worked. It probably would have pumped, but it would have leaked engine oil, and it would have just caused problems. Eventually the pump would have probably failed when the cracks crept on up to the actual pump side. So if this pump don't work, I guess I'll be buying another one. But lesson learned, test fit that sucker, and if it don't fit, then I can take some emery cloth to it and sand that housing down just enough to let it clear. And as far as the bolt holes, I may even have to take a drill bit and just run a reamer through them, you know, clean them out. Okay, that should be on. Let's leave that on so we know the fuel is on. Alright. Let's hit the old compression release. Preheat the old glow plugs. And we'll crack an injector. See it down here. I went and picked up some rubber lines So let's see if we can't get this little sucker going again. Alright, let's do away with this all together. There we go. Look like it though. Bottom two. Let's see if it'll fit on there. Nope, it'll work. Fuel pump is putting out enough too to make it run. I may still have to get online and order another one of them. Now watch for diesel coming out of here. If it comes out, I'll put the injector lines back on. We should be good to go. Yep, let's turn the fuel on. Alright guys, so I've got the little Kubota 7100 running, as you've seen earlier in the video. I'm on my way now to go get some battery cable, the little copper lugs, so I can mount some actual cables, because while I was messing around with it, the battery fell off and yanked the ground cable right off the tractor. But they just had little butt connectors holding them together anyway, so it probably needed to be changed. I don't have the ends to go on the battery, as you've seen, so I just had them vice grip clamped on there. We're going to buy a set of them. And the biggest thing is the radiator hose. Now this ain't the radiator hose, but it's almost the same exact shape. If it was an inch longer on either side, it would actually work. And of course it needs to be 1.5 inch diameter instead of this 2 inch whatever. This is for the air cleaner. But I need that hose so that I can get coolant in the thing. And then I guess the only other thing it's going to need is, something just fell over. The only other thing it's going to need is something to put in the front tires to make them hold air long enough to drive this thing around and really test it. I did move it back and forth, as you've seen, and it's really fast in high range, but I need to look. I think it's actually got 3 speeds. Low, 1, 2, and 3, and then hydrostat in all 3 of those gears. But we'll know more when we get it where I can actually drive it around. I don't want to get it overheated. I did find a leak for the diesel, but that was the return line coming off that last injector going into the tank. I forgot to put a clamp on it, and it was actually a little bit too big a diameter, and so it just popped off immediately and was pumping diesel out, which I've got a clamp on it now, but I'm also going to pick up some smaller line while I'm here at the parts store and hopefully get that fixed. And I'll change out the 2 little lines in between the injectors, because they're too big too. They're not leaking right now, but they will. So hopefully in the next, it's 2:30 now, hopefully in the next couple of hours it'll be running, driving, you know, ready to go to a new owner, and then I can list it on the marketplace. That's the plan. And I've got a belly mower for it, but the way the lift system is on this belly mower, it actually has like a little add-on bracket for the 3-point arms with 2 pretty heavy cables. And those cables go from the 3-point arms down to the deck, so when you lift the 3-point, it actually lifts the deck off the ground via these cables. Well, one cable's broke on one side, and I'm not going to try to source that thing nowhere. I mean, the deck itself is pretty rough. It's been welded and broke and re-welded, and the spindles, I know one of them's locked up. They probably all 3 are. The blades, I'm sure, dull as can be. It's probably going to cost more money than it's worth to actually fix the deck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rob the 90-degree gearbox off of it in the drive shaft, because I may put that on the little diesel engine, the turbo diesel engine project, which I haven't really mentioned before, but now I spilled the beans. Not really, because I think I did mention it, but that's a project that's further down the road when I got a lot of time. I need to find a go-kart or something frame, and I've got a little single-cylinder Deutz air-cooled diesel that I'm gonna put one of them little cheap $130 eBay turbochargers on, if it has the provisions for oil pressure, so I can make sure it lasts a little bit of time anyhow. And I'll make another video on that diesel. I've got to split the generator off, and I hope it's got like a bolt-on flange and it's not a tapered crankshaft. If it is, that may change the plans. I may have to buy or build something to convert it from a tapered crank to a regular solid crank, so I can put pulleys or clutches or something on it to drive this setup. But I've got the diesel, I've got a turbo, I've got a little, I believe it's a 3-speed manual transmission, which I'll do the torque converter on, and that'll be my clutch. And then just find some heavy, some kind of heavy little frame to mount all this on. And it's just going to be something to build, hopefully make a good video for y'all, and be something to play on and sell or trade. It's nothing that's going to be fast. For one, that little diesel only runs 1800 RPM, and two, it's only like 9 horsepower, which you don't need a lot of horsepower for speed, or the torque for that matter. You just got to have it geared and clutched right, which I'll probably have neither. But this thing's going to end up being a giant monstrosity, I'm sure, just to make it all happen. But for now, we're almost to O'Reilly's. We're going to get up here and get these parts and get home and hurry up and get this little tractor going. I'm wanting to drive it around. Slow traffic lights. You can turn right on red anytime you're ready, or not. You can sit there and wait till it turns green, I guess. My coffee's done got cold. Great. Get rid of these clamps too. There we go, finally. Well, now you waited and I gotta wait. One more, come on. Turned out to be a really nice day today for as cold as it was this morning. Probably in the 60s. I know it ain't 34. Yeah, there we go. It refreshed. 62 degrees. North Texas. This little town I live in is getting bigger. Seems like by the month. We're so close to DFW, and everything is growing from that way towards us. It ain't no little town anymore, for sure. And the bad thing is the infrastructure really can't handle the amount of people we got living here now. Mainly the roads. The roads are horrible. Way too small. But, okay. Well, let's find us a parking spot to get in. Or two. Let's just take up two. I'm gonna go in here and get the parts, and I'll be back. Alright, I went all out on this little tractor. I actually bought the battery cables. So normally I don't do that on stuff that's not worth a whole lot of money. I'll just buy the ends and then just crimp them on myself. But it is what it is. It'll actually make my job a little easier. Not for the starter, of course. That'll be a little harder because I'm going to have to fish it through and take the one off the starter, but it'll be worth it in the long run, I hope. And the negative side, I just got a little short one that I can just bolt onto the block somewhere and ground it where it'll actually work. So, with that being said, we're on our way back home. We'll head right out into the field and get this thing back together. Get some coolant in it. I need to grab my coolant at the shop real quick. Don't do it. I have more people pull out in front of me. It's ridiculous. Of course, I'm not pulling my trailer, my skid steer around. That's when they really want to pull out in front of you, when you can't stop as fast. It's daily. Hello.
Hi, good afternoon. This is Casey with Hair Birthday. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, but I'm not interested. Thank you. Dang. Spam. So yeah, one day I was going through a whole bunch of old beater trucks trying to find something decent to drive. I had an old Dodge. I don't know, I think I get 4,000 or 4,800 for it. It was a 92 maybe. Extended cab, 3/4 ton, long bed. Had the 12 valve in it and a 5-speed. And it didn't have any lights at all. Nothing would work. I rewired. I spent days working on this truck, rewiring everything. It ran great, the old 12 valve. The transmission, not so much. Clutch was good, but you couldn't downshift. And it would pop out of 5th gear, I think. I mean, it was just one thing after another. But I was actually going to take it out to my first job, which I was just driving it there to look at a job, actually. And I thought, now I'll take the Dodge. Let's try it out. And I left my house. I didn't make it maybe a mile. And the little fuel shut off solenoid crapped out and shut the fuel off. It shut it almost completely off, and it just wouldn't run, and then finally it quit all the way. So I pulled it into my in-laws, have a little piece of property. I whooped it in there real quick, shut it down, walked to my house, got in the little Ford Explorer I had for just running around with the kids, grabbed that, and I took off to the parts store to try to find this little shut-off solenoid I needed. And as a result, I'm trying to get to work, so I'm booking it pretty good through town. And I was running 45 and a 25 right when one of the local popos was there, and man, he got me. And I was just like, I didn't even bother telling him I was late. I didn't give him anything. I just, yep, I was speeding. That was a $330-something ticket, I believe. A little pricey. But lesson learned. Now when I go through there, I creep around and I try not to do, I might drive through there 30, but most of the time I try to keep it right on 25 miles an hour, just because you get one of them tickets and it hurts. Almost come back. It just seems like that's 30 minutes gone automatically. That's not very much time, but when you're very limited on time, it is. Again, open. There we go. Yeah, I noticed that both these cables on this thing had either broke or rotted off, and they basically took a set of jumper cables, some thin ones at that, and cut them and made battery cables and just used them big yellow butt connectors to attach them to the tractor. I mean, it worked, but I'm changing that. Okay, where are you? Oh, yeah. Let's cut a line. So from there to the outside edge, about 8.5. We're going to try this lawnmower fuel tubing, because you don't have to have clamps on this stuff. It pretty much, nope, I knew it was going to take the bigger one. Like self-sealing, so, oh yeah, that's going to work perfect. Okay, so all that's sealed up now. I don't have a clamp on that, but I don't think we're going to need it. That was a pretty snug fit. We may put one on it later. So right now, let's get these battery cables situated. This is probably way too long because I didn't really know what length it needed to be. So I just kind of guessed at it. Y'all ever open these this way? Instead of cutting them, just peel that off. Well, you can now. It's always that last one. Brittle as all get out. Okay. Hit them again. needs some adjustment. Guys, what do you think? I think it's gonna make somebody a good little garden tractor. It needs to be run. I think the rings are not quite seated, so they're puffing to the smoke. Could be seals. Needs an oil change. I still need to get that filter cartridge for that, but all in all, not too shabby. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed getting that little thing running. I love these little tractors. I just really wish it was full-wheel drive. That'd be so cool. But anyways, I got to put the side covers and stuff back on it. I've got the air cleaner assembly and all that. I'll do an oil change on it. Maybe if I can find an air filter, I'll put that on it too. Let's kill this air compressor. Shut the fuel off, one, so it don't get in the crankcase if the float hangs, and I always shut the choke off just in case something was to get in there, which I guess it really don't matter because it's not like I take it back off and make sure nothing got in there before I start them. Whew. Well, there's a lot of running around for parts, but had a long time waiting on stuff to get here, but everything's in and ready to go. So hope y'all enjoyed the video again, guys, and if you hadn't already, like, subscribe, leave me comments, go check out my channel because I got lots of other videos like this and I'm gonna have lots more up and coming. Thank y'all for watching. Later.